So I'll watch a Fassbinder movie, and then I'll have a writing session on my own movie that I'm writing, and then I'll watch another Fassbinder movie, and then I'll have a writing session. He made a lot of movies. I've seen 5, unlike every other time when I've tried to pick a movie, and I spend like half the length of a movie just deciding what movie to watch. I'm just gonna pick this one. Boom. And we're just gonna watch it. Go. And we're watching it. It's 2 hours. Yeah, I really liked that. It was really good. And I want to watch it again. And just right away, you know it's gonna be good. The beginning of like the cops like watching the circus like performance and then come up on stage to arrest the guy, and then Fox like making out with the guy or kissing the guy as he gets arrested. Yeah, it's just like immediately fills you with excitement for the movie. And then watching Fox kind of like change himself for the guy from his like confident, I am how I am in the beginning, just conceding more and more, introducing like the Valium, and even having the guy who gave him the 10 marks for the lottery ticket that not gave him, that Fox stole the lottery ticket money from, and him winning with that, and then all that time passing and him coming to the bar with roses in the end. I think those little things are really important. I mean, they're not little things even. Those things are important, and to me, I guess, they have this certain like a satisfaction. We're singing that song and them all watching, and her like singing. I don't know, it made me emotional. Of course, yeah, I did love that scene in the car smoking and listening to the Leonard Cohen song. I just need to like learn everything about how he made movies. I need to like get a book and read it. Time to work on my bullshit. Alright, where the fuck was I? I think I can look at all this and say like I'm absolutely fucking nowhere and I have nothing and be dramatic, but that's not true. There's something here. It's just scenes and dialogue. And it's like I need to take a step back and look at the whole thing and then actually just decide where to start it. If it sucks, it's fine because I'm just going to rewrite it anyway. Because right now it's just too many different ideas altogether. The diverging, converging thing. I've been converging for way too long. No, diverging. And now it's like it's way out here and I cannot bring it back together. I need to make some just decisions to bring it back in here. You know what I mean? Here's my little plot. I actually did make some decisions and did some converging, and this is what I have. A plot. Sort of, not really. It's pretty obvious. Again, endings are obvious. There's enough kind of talk and foreshadowing that it's clear things aren't going to go well for him, for Fox. And that something's got to give with his lifestyle, because that's not his life. And he's being pushed around. Now, I didn't know exactly how it would end the way that it did, but it's not going to be good. It's like he had nothing before, but he hadn't lost anything. And then in the end, he's like, has nothing and doesn't know or knows now all that he's missing. That he would end up with even less than he had before. I guess another possible ending to the movie would be if you paused it in the beginning and thought, how's this gonna go? Maybe he does completely leave his past life behind and is a rich guy now. Fully. But even then, I kind of picture like something happens where he realizes he, becomes disgusted by who he's become or something. Like if he completely became a rich guy, then he's kind of a different character than he is throughout the movie, which is kind of a genuine, nice character in a way. he'd have to have a pretty change in his personality at some point to be the type of guy who would start to look down on the people he used to run with, of the class that he used to be a part of. But that's never where it's going, so that's why the ending is obvious. He's not going to change. He's still himself, and he's just like keeps having to not be himself to please the guy he's with. Of course, what he wants in the end is to just be himself again, and that's what he kind of says in the end. Anyway, all this to say, like, I need to kind of get big picture with it and think about where is this going and just have the ending. I really need to think about the ending before, because that's why it's gotten so out of control, all the different things that could happen. I need to give thought to, like, if this is what the story is, if this is where it starts, the ending is obvious. Just write it down. What is that ending? And then I can kind of be free in the middle of it, not having to worry about like finding the ending. I think finding the ending by way of like brainstorming like this actually isn't the way. I always kind of think that that's how it is, but actually, if I think about Beyond Failure, I didn't have the ending, and then I thought about it and I came up with the ending very easily, like, oh, it's obvious that this should happen. And then that made it so that anything could happen in the middle to try to get people to forget how obvious the ending is. And that's the same thing I want to apply here. Like, I don't have anything until I've figured out the beginning and the end. And so I can come up with it. If it's wrong, it's wrong. I'll realize that. But I need to stop doing this, thinking I'm going to hit it. No, I need to have the ending. This just reminds me of something that Alexander Mackendrick says in his book on filmmaking. Only when a story has been well structured does one recognize that the ultimate crisis and resolution were not only somehow implicit in the initial premise all along, they were inherent in the opening scenes. In this sense, dramatic tension depends more on the how of the events than the why. By the time the obligatory scene and whatever that word, perpetuas arrive at the end of the story, we have in some sense been anticipating and preparing for them for some time. Of course, how else could it have ended? Even though we take some pleasure in the way the storytelling has been engineered so that we are still, to a certain extent, taken off guard. How do I know what I mean until I've heard what I want to say? This, if you think about it, means that you may recognize what the beginning of a story needs to be only when you have stumbled upon the end. That's how I feel lately about endings and in everything I've written. Or I don't know, yeah. Beyond Failure made me feel that especially. You know the ending. It's almost inevitable, and then the whole time is, and the ending has to be kind of known in some way by the audience because that's what gets them to keep watching. They're like, "Oh, I don't want that to happen to him. I don't want that to happen to him." Like with Fox and his friends, it's like, oh, I know this isn't going to end well. I don't want that to happen. And that keeps you watching because you're like, how's it going to happen? I know something bad's going to happen to him. Like, how's it going to happen? Like, is he going to get out of it? Of course he doesn't. And just realizing that with movies, with mine, I'm not going to invent, and even it's better that I don't invent some crazy ending that no one would expect. That frees me up in a way. But enough talking. I'm going to just keep reading through this and opening this up again, basically. Had a pretty good writing session. Went to the gym, came back, made a meal. What to choose next? Alright, I'll go with this one. I didn't end up finishing In a Year of 13 Moons. I watched like an hour of it, and then I went downstairs to watch on a TV, and then I switched to this movie Lola. It's that classic betting plot. You know, when one character is like, "I bet you can't." What's that genre? What is that? Because in the beginning, Lola like bets like, "He will kiss my hand." Bet me like champagne, it's the same thing I feel with like Fox and his friends, with like opening it with the carnival and the arrest of his friends, and very imaginative way of like telling every story. In that moment when she drives up and he kisses her hand in front of everybody, it's things like that that make me feel like this is gonna be good. It tells you so much about her just in that action. When I think about my own movie, there is an element of like, is she gonna try to beat them at their own game? You know, if you can't beat them, join them element. And I was thinking about the ending yesterday in my writing session. And I was like, I think to have it go this certain other way is more cynical than maybe I want to be with it, with this particular topic. Anyway, in the movie that I'm writing, there is an element of like, if it starts to go this way, that could be interesting, but it's also, it ends very darkly then, right? It's very dark to think that that's what the character would do. And so those are two different movies, a one that ends like this and one that is always leading towards this. And this movie ends in that dark way. Lola's in a better situation and has a little more power and agency at the end. I mean, a lot more, I guess. She's not under whatever his name is, his thumb anymore. But to do that, she had to play the game. She had to be corrupt as well. She just had to figure out what she could get out of it, what she could manipulate in order to win in the end, like they were winning.
Basically, that's not all I have to say about that movie. I mean, the movie was great. Like, sometimes I get overwhelmed, maybe thinking, like, the cinematography, like, in his movies, I'm noticing blocking being very, like, beautiful. Like, just the way that people are arranged and move throughout the frame. And, like, there's just so much to say about all those things. Maybe just because I'm in the stage of writing something, I think I'm always thinking about there's certain things in the beginning that make the ending of the movie inevitable. And I'm kind of testing that theory on different movies I watch. With Lola, what is it? In the beginning, when she gets told that he's a man of whatever, that he's not her type of man, she takes that as a personal as a challenge. And then throughout the whole movie, maybe there's things happening to tell you she doesn't seek love. She doesn't seek a rescue through this guy. No, she's seeking power. I don't know. It's hard to read.
I think in the beginning, maybe there was a point at which I thought that she was not going that way. She was a little more sincere or something.
When she's with him on their like church dates, I don't know. I think it's all kind of a game to her. I think there might be part of her that does admire that he's different, but ultimately just telling him like, this isn't a place for you. Anyway, getting into the weeds, and then to think about like, how does he come to end up back in that club? Because he's playing his violin in the mirror, as he always does, and he remembers their song that they sang together. And then the next scene is him in the club demanding to buy her or whatever. It's not a big dialogue thing. It's just, in cinema you can do that. It's like you can see the look on his face remembering that song, that he's definitely going to try and go see her again now, and that he's definitely still thinking about her. In A Year of 13 Moons is the cow stuff happening minute 18, and I don't know if I was supposed to like take in anything that was being I was like watching that whole scene like this, so I might have missed some major plot things. Anyway, the result is that I'm like an hour into this movie and I don't really know what's going on. But I'll finish it. I guess it's really dark. That's the word. I guess that's the result of like literally scene after scene after scene of the main character like getting kind of beaten down. I do not see where things are going right now. So I'm going to finish this one.
I finished A Year in A Year with 13 Moons. Some pretty amazing parts of the movie. All the parts in that office building. I don't know what I'm feeling. I guess it's more of a feeling and emotion. It's very like there's a lot of emotion and pain in the movie. It's just like pure pain. Even like the parts that are, not that. Like when they're doing that dancing routine. I felt like that she was just in danger the whole time. A movie for someone else is the director's like catharsis and not. It's not really for us. Like it's not really for an audience. And I think that's a powerful thing in film. It's not always for an audience. Sometimes it is. I feel like this movie is like pure expression, the pain that someone's experiencing and their outlook on life at the time, which is that it's all pain. Yeah, that's all I have to say about it right now.
I really wanted to watch another Fassbinder to close the week out because 3 doesn't feel like enough to say that I watched a lot. Like, I feel like 4 is more serious. Oh, yeah, I got my hair cut and dyed. Yeah, so I was gonna watch another one and then do a writing session. However, I feel like I've been kind of cheating, right? Because the writing sessions, I've watched 3. I feel like I had one substantial writing session. The second one was rushed, and then one time I didn't even do the writing session after because I went to bed. So, what if to make up for that, instead of just watching another one, I actually do a writing session for some time? And if I want to upload this today, I need to be done filming. I'm still figuring out the weekly upload. Thanks for watching if you are, as I figure it out. And yeah, I wish I woke up a little earlier. Last night I stayed up watching this fucking football game that is not an exciting football game that I think anyone was watching. The Chicago Bears versus the Panthers. I fell asleep before I could even see what happened. And then when I looked up the highlights this morning to see what happened, the comments were like, here's a medal for anyone who actually watched this game live, let alone watched the highlights. Because it's a tank bowl, as they say. 2 teams were 1-7 or something. But yesterday would have been a fine time for a Fassbinder movie. This seems more focused than where I was, huh? Bear with me, I'm a new YouTuber, just like everyone who actually sat through the Chicago Bears game yesterday. Thank you for sitting through this and watching this despite the tank bowl that is this channel currently. I promise we're gonna get out of here, out of this, I'm gonna start putting some wins on the board. Just bear with me, stick through it. It's gonna all pay off. Thanks so much for watching.